It's Friday. Welcome to Questions with Father Luke. I'm Father Luke of Covenant Anglican Church in San Marcos, Texas, and today's question is, what advice would you give to newlyweds? Well, first let me just say that marriage is a very beautiful and very serious thing. The Bible speaks of marriage as being more than an institution that's about making you happy or about providing you a safe place for sexual pleasure. The Bible speaks of marriage as this relationship that reflects ultimately Christ and His love for the world. And so to do that well, obviously, both parties, bride and groom, need to be Christians. We need to be believers. And even with that, though, marriage is hard because two lives, two wills, two people come together to be one. And unfortunately, we as human beings are a selfish bunch, right? There's a lot of sin issue that's going on there. But for your marriage to be set up for the most potential to be healthy and enduring, my advice to newlyweds is that you need to embrace two huge commitments. These two commitments have kind of two focal points or points of implications. The first one is that you need to commit to worship, both in your home and in the local church community, right? You need to be committed to reading scripture together and to praying with one another. And if you feel like the rhythms of your lives are too much, that it makes it too difficult for you to read the same thing together at the same time, at least try and read the same thing and at least begin talking about the things that you're reading in Scripture with one another. Share that part of your life with each other. And you need to be praying. I would encourage you to pray. Pray in the morning before you leave for work. Pray at night before you go to bed. Pray together. Cover yourselves, cover the day in prayer together, even when you have to spend most of the day apart because of work or other obligations. You also need to be committed and invested in worshiping in a local community, right? This means that the church is to be seen as y'all's experience, right? It's not his experience, it's not his church, it's not her church, it's your church, right? You guys are invested in this together. Now, the second commitment that has also two kind of prongs to it is you've got to be committed to your relationship. And what I mean is you need to be committed both romantically and administratively to cultivating your marriage. So by romantically, I mean you need to date one another. My wife and I, we've been married for 18 years, we have 5 children, and we continue to date each other at least once a week, whether we go out somewhere by ourselves or whether we put a movie on for the kids and we sit down with a kettle of tea or a bottle of wine or whatever the case is. What we do is we spend time enjoying one another's company. We look longingly into each other's eyes. We hold hands and we show our affection for one another as we celebrate the gift of our marriage. But relationships, especially romantic ones, require deep communication in order to remain healthy. And so each week we also, usually on Sunday evenings, have this meeting that we call a marriage meeting, where we sit down, we pull out our calendars, and we just talk about the administrative things that I have going on this week. What does your week look like? Where are you going to find stress? Where are you going to need help? How can we be praying for you? And and having that conversation enables us to talk about really practical things that affect each other's lives, and the way that we parent, the way that we school, the way that we work, or engage in the other things that we've got going on during the week. In the Song of Solomon, the two lovers use this metaphor for their relationship, talking about the garden, a garden. And they warn that you have to catch these little foxes, because foxes find ways under fences, they dig up plants that aren't supposed to be dug up, and they just have a way of wreaking havoc on something that's supposed to be good and beautiful, especially something that you're working on. And if you're not careful to catch those foxes, then it's going to come in and wreak havoc on it. And so marriage meetings for us help us to guard against these little foxes. These meetings show us how we can be praying for one another, how I can pray for my wife, how I can step up and serve her in times of need where she has greater need during the week. It enables us to understand better how to complement each other in our parenting, in our schooling, in our friendships, and in our work, all those kinds of things. And so I would say newlyweds and not newlyweds, I encourage you to have these two huge commitments, right? Worship together, both in your home and in a local church setting, but you also need to be committed to developing and cultivating your relationship, both romantically and administratively, right? So going on dates and doing these marriage meetings. Now, if you have a long, enduring, beautiful, healthy marriage and you have something else that you would encourage newlyweds, I encourage you to leave that in the comments below, or better yet, come and visit us on Sunday and let's talk about it. Let's connect.